Hi everyone. Now moving on to the next chapter, special senses. We are aware of some general senses, right? That is, we are able to recognize some stimuli like temperature, pain, proprioception. Proprioception is the ability to recognize the body's position. Okay, so all these are some general senses we have. But we are having some specialized organ to produce some specialized senses, some special senses. Okay, now I'm going to list out what are the special senses we have. Okay, first of all, it is sight. Second is hearing. Then taste. Then smell. And next touch. Okay, so these are the 5 special senses we have. Okay, and we'll be dealing with some of the senses. First, we are going to see about the special sense sight or vision. Okay, which organ produces vision? It is the eye. Okay, in this video, we are going to deal with the structure of the eye, the gross anatomy of the eye. Okay, and first we'll deal with only the outer layer of the eye. Okay, this is one cross section of the eye. I have taken one eyeball and I've cut in the center, and I got one lateral view and I'm fixing this. Okay, so this one is the cross section. This is the lateral view of the eyeball. First we'll deal with the outer layers of the eyeball, then we'll go into the structures inside the eye. Okay, so the layers of the eyeball is of 3. Okay, there are 3 layers of eyeball. Layers, the outer, middle and inner. Okay, first we'll deal with the outer layer. So the outer layer, since it is the outer layer, what would be its function? It is having function of protection. Okay, it is having outer protective layer. In this cross section, which would be the outer layer? What I have drawn. Okay, this is the outer layer. The outer layer is having 2 portions. First one is sclera and second one is cornea. Okay, so this is the outer region of the eyeball. So in the outer layer, we can find 2 portions. In the posterior portion, okay, that is the portion extending the wall behind of the eyeball. Okay, starting from here and it goes down and it comes here. Okay, till here. This 5 by 6th part of eyeball is known as sclera. Okay, so when you are observing your eye in the mirror, you can see a white part in the eye, right? Suppose this is your eye. See, this one is your eye. Okay, so you can find a white portion. You can see most of the portion of the eye is white in color, and in center of the eye you can see the dark portion. Okay, so this is the pupil region, that is the dark portion of your eye, and surrounding that you can see a white region. Okay, and that white region is known as the sclera. And while taking the cross section, you can see the 5 by 6, that is the majority of this outer layer is sclera. Okay, the portion starting from here to here, it is the sclera. Okay, and anteriorly you can see a bulged area. Okay, so if you are having a front view, that is, this is the front view. Okay, in the front view you can see one dark brightened portion, right? And this portion is covered by cornea. Okay, in lateral view, in cross section, you can see this as a bulged area. So the portion starting from here and ends here, it is known as the cornea. Okay, so the outer 5/6 of the eye is a white colored portion known as the sclera. So this one is the sclera and this portion is the cornea. Okay, so the outer layer is complete. Outer protective layer is sclera and 1/6 of the cornea is 1/6 of the eyeball. The outer layer is cornea. And one main thing, the sclera is an opaque surface. Okay, it is an opaque layer. That means it does not transmit the light to go through it. Okay, your white region of your eye is completely, it is not transparent, it is opaque. Since it is opaque, it does not transmit light to go through it. Only you can see a dark region in the eye, right? That region is covered by cornea. Cornea is transparent, it transmits light through it. Okay, so the light will be moving into the eyeball and it strikes the retina through which part? Through your dark portion, through your pupil. Okay, so cornea is 1/6 and also cornea is transparent and this one is the opaque region. Okay, so outer layer is over. Now comes the middle layer. Middle layer. Middle layer, I'll draw with red pen. Okay, middle layer, outer layer is protective layer. What about middle layer? Middle layer is nutritive in function. What is it function? It is nutritive. That is, it is having blood vessels. Okay, it is highly vascularized. Vascularized means it is having lots and lots of blood vessels in it. Okay, so the middle layer is known as choroid. CHOROID, choroid. Okay, so choroid you can see like here. It will be like the sclera, it will be covering most of the inner portion of the eyeball. Okay, so it extends the whole length behind the eyeball and it comes anteriorly. Okay, and what happens? This is the choroid. Okay, choroid is the red colored portion. This is the red colored portion. Okay, this one is the red colored portion. Okay, I think it is visible to you. So this red colored portion, that is the choroid. Okay, choroid, when it reaches anteriorly, this one is the anterior portion, this is the posterior portion. When it reaches the anterior portion, this choroid will make a thickening. Okay, the anterior portion of the choroid is thickened. Okay, when we are taking the lateral view, when we are taking the cross section, you can find this thickened part as triangle. Okay, actually while you are taking a frontal view, you can see this one, the anterior part of the choroid is little thickened, but in cross section what you are seeing is, cross section means we are taking the lateral view. Okay, so the anterior portion of the choroid will be thickened. Okay, it will be looking like a triangular portion. So this one is the choroid region. Okay, so the anterior triangular portion of the choroid. Okay, it is choroid or choroid. Okay, so from the choroid a structure is arising. It is structure is arising means from the this choroid you can see one circular, if you are taking the frontal view, there is one circular layer. Okay, it is known as the diaphragm or the iris. If you are taking a lateral view, you can see this as a finger like projection. Okay, so from the choroid you can see a finger-like projection which is known as the iris or diaphragm. Okay, that means if you're taking the cross section, you can see it like a finger, that is finger-like projection. But if you're taking the frontal view, what you are seeing, you can see this darkened portion in the eye, right? You can see the sclera, and between that you can see the darkened portion, right? Suppose this is your eye. So this one is the darkened portion which you can see in your eye, and this diaphragm, there is a small more black portion, and it is surrounded by certain layer. Okay, and this layer is known as the iris or diaphragm. Okay, this one you can see here like a finger-like projection. If you are taking the cross section, you get a finger-like projection. So if you are taking the front view, this darkened portion is the pupil. Okay, it is the pupil. The pupil is surrounded by the iris, or it is known as the diaphragm. Okay, what is the function of diaphragm? Diaphragm regulate the light entry into the eye. Okay, what is the one speciality of this diaphragm? This diaphragm can reduce its the length of diaphragm. Okay, can be reduced and increased depending upon the light that is going through it. Okay, so the pupil is where the light goes. Okay, pupil is a small hole through which the light will come. Okay, if there is a lot amount of light, okay, a huge light is directing into the eye, what happens? The pupil cannot accommodate that much of light. So the pupil have to be constricted. So this darkened area is the pupil. So this pupil is constricted with the help of the diaphragm. Okay, so this diaphragm can reduce its size or increase its size depending upon the light coming. Okay, sometimes if a torch is lightened on your eye, okay, that means so much of light is going into your eye. Okay, so what you can see, the pupil is constricting. That means this darkened area, darkened hole, it is a hole. Okay, pupil is one hole, and this hole will be constricting. Okay, when direct light is directed onto your eyeball, this pupil will still reduce its size. Okay, still reduce its size, and by which layer? Diaphragm. Okay, so diaphragm will increase its size. Diaphragm will increase. So what is the difference between a normal eye and a light directed eye? The pupil is constricted, or its size is minimized by the diaphragm. Okay, the diaphragm will elongate. The diaphragm will increase its width. Okay, this width of the diaphragm is increased, so pupil will be constricting. Okay, when that light is removed from your eye, what happens? The diaphragm will again go back to its normal width, and the pupil will dilate. Okay, pupil will enlarge or dilate. So pupil constriction and pupil dilation is produced by the diaphragm. Okay, you can see brown in some people. You can see it as a brown colored region, or it can be seen as blue colored region or green colored. Okay, it is depending upon the color of iris or diaphragm. Okay, so the actual more darkened spot within this dark region is known as pupil, which is surrounded by a lightened portion known as the iris or diaphragm. Okay, so your eye color depends upon the color of iris. Okay, so in this cross section you can find this as the iris or diaphragm. Okay, so between the diaphragm you can see this hole, right? The space from here to here. This one is iris or diaphragm. So this hole is known as your pupil. Okay, in the front view you can see this dark colored portion is known as the pupil. Okay, behind the pupil you can see the lens. Okay, and next layer, the third layer we are going to see. So this is the second layer. Second layer is the vascular layer. The majority of the vascular layer is choroid, which is the vascular layer which is having so many blood vessels in it, and anteriorly it makes a triangular thickening from which the iris or diaphragm is held. Okay, next moving on to the third most important layer of eyeball, which is known as the inner layer or neural layer. Okay. Inner layer is known as the neural layer or retinal layer. Okay, so inner one is the most important layer. Okay, this important layer is very much important because why? Actual function lies in the inner layer. Okay, what is the function of eye? Eye to recognize light. Okay, to see things. By the reflected eye goes to your retina, then only you can recognize or see the objects. Okay, so all that neural function, the actual function of eyeball lies in the third layer, which is known as the retinal layer. Okay, so retinal layer, which in turn have two layers further. Okay, this inner layer or neural layer or retinal layer is having two layers further. Okay, first layer is known as the pigmented layer, and second one is the pigmented layer of retina, and second one is the neural layer of retina. Okay, so inner layer or altogether it is known as neural layer, but the inner layer, it is in turn separated into pigmented layer and neural layer. Okay, so in this figure I'll mark the pigmented layer with black marker. Okay, so you can find the pigmented layer extending the whole length of the choroid, the thickening, that the thickening part is known as ciliary body. Okay, I skipped that point. This choroid, when anteriorly it is going, it forms a triangular, it forms a thickening, right? That thickening is known as ciliary body. Okay, do not miss that. This one is known as ciliary body. So from the ciliary body, what is arising? This diaphragm is arising. Okay, that's all about the second layer. Now, moving on to the third layer. The third layer extends the whole length of the choroid, the ciliary body and the iris. Okay, the third layer, pigmented layer. Why it is known as pigmented layer? It is having pigmented cells in it. Okay, so I'll just mark it with the black marker. So it starts from the behind of the diaphragm and it goes to the ciliary body and it extends the whole length of the choroid and it comes anteriorly, the whole length of the ciliary body, then the diaphragm. Okay, so the pigmented layer, which is having the pigment cell, pigmented layer is one layer of the retina. Okay, retinal layer, inner layer. Okay, so this pigmented layer, it extends the whole length of the diaphragm, the ciliary body, which is the triangular thickening. Okay, and the whole length of choroid. Okay, so this is the pigmented layer. Which is inner to that? Which layer is seen above the pigmented layer? It is of course neural layer of retina. Okay, this pigmented layer and neural layer together makes retina. Okay, so next layer is the neural layer. What would be the location of neural layer? Neural layer, I'll mark with red marker, the neural layer will ends. It does not extend up to diaphragm or ciliary body. It ends a little beyond the center. Suppose this is the center of the eye, right? So the neural layer will be extending a little further of the the center of the eyeball. Okay, so you can see from here, you can see the neural layer like this. It goes the whole length of the choroid and pigmented layer. Okay, so this one is the neural layer. Okay, almost it goes just a little beyond the center of the eyeball, which is known as the neural layer. Okay, now we are moving on to the most actual function of the retina. Now I am taking a small portion from here. Okay, so what you can see, the outermost layer is the choroid. I am just magnifying this portion. The outermost layer is the choroid, and second layer is the outermost layer is sclera. Okay, the outer layer is sclera, and next comes the red color, which is known as the choroid. Okay, what comes next? The neural layer. Okay, so this one is the pigmented layer of the retina, and comes the neural layer of the retina. Okay, the neural layer of the retina is very important because the actual function lies in the neural layer of retina. Okay, we know that the neural layer is where we can see the light receptors known as the rods and cones. Okay, so in our body there are many kinds of receptors. Okay, there can be thermal receptors, there can be stretch receptors, pain receptors. Okay, so all these are kinds of receptors present in the body. And light receptors are also one kind of receptors. Which are the light receptors? Light receptors are rods and cones. And one characteristics of all receptors are transducers. Okay, transducers. Transducers means it can convert one energy to another form of energy. Okay, what all the receptors is actually doing? It is converting. Suppose if it is thermal receptor, it is converting the thermal energy to electrical energy, right? What is this information is passed throughout the body in the form of current, in the form of action potential. Okay, in the form of electrochemical energy. Okay, so any receptors, if you are taking temperature, thermal receptor will convert temperature into electrochemical energy or electrical energy, right? Touch receptor means it is converting that mechanical energy. Pressure is one mechanical energy, right? This mechanical energy, it is converted into electrical energy. Like that, the light receptors are present here. Light receptors are rods and cones. Okay, what is the stimuli here? It is light. Light, that means electromagnetic energy, electromagnetic radiation. Okay, so these rods and cones are light receptors which are able to convert this electromagnetic energy into electrochemical energy in the form of impulse, in the form of action potential, in the form of current. Okay, so these are rods and cones which you can see in the neural layer of retina. So the light passes through, from the external light passes through the cornea, through the pupil, light goes inside and it strikes over the neural layer of retina. And what happens? From this neural layer, the rods and cones will convert this light energy into electrical energy, and this electrical energy, the end point of this neural layer is optical nerve. Okay, from these neural layer you can see different nerves are arising. Okay, starting from here, nerves are arising like this. So from all portion the nerves are arising. And these nerves will go through the optical disc to the brain. Okay, so these impulses which is generated in the neural layer is transmitted into the brain. Okay, this information have to be conveyed in the brain so that then only you can recognize the object. Okay, once every information is going into the brain, the sensory part of brain, you can recognize the objects. Okay, suppose if I am pinching on the skin, this information relays to your brain. Okay, then only you can feel the pain. Suppose when there is a temperature, okay, hot objects filled on your body, this have to be conveyed into your brain, then only you can recognize. Like that, this impulses from the neural layer, it goes through the optical nerve. Okay, throughout this neural layer, the optical nerve is arising, carrying these impulses out of the eyeball to the brain. Okay, and this portion is known as the optical disc. Optical disc is the point of exit. Okay, point through which the optical nerve goes. Okay, so this is all about the retinal layer, the inner layer. Okay, now moving on to the most important part of eyeball, that is the lens. Okay, the lens for directing the light into the retina. We need lens. Okay, lens is a transparent object. So this one is the inner layer, right? Inner pigmented layer, right? From the inner pigmented layer, there are certain ligaments arises. Okay, like this, there are certain ligaments arises, like brush-like borders. Ligaments will be arising, and between these ligaments, you can find a transparent object known as the mirror. Okay, the mirror. Okay, sorry, it is not mirror, it is lens. Okay, the lens is held between sensory ligaments. The sensory ligaments is holding the lens in position. Okay, so this is the lens. So in the pupil, just behind the pupil, this is a small hole, right? Behind the pupil, you can see the lens. Okay, so the light rays will come and it strike the lens. So lens is having property of refracting or diverging. Okay, so the lens will refract, it directs the light into the retina. Okay, only when this light rays is directed to the retina, you can see things. Okay, if the light rays is going here, if the light rays is, suppose if the light rays is diverging and it goes here, what happens? Here means there is no retinal layer. The retinal layer will ends here, right? If it is the light rays is striking upon the pigmented layer, we cannot see it. Okay, the light, if it is striking on the retina only, we can, that light is converted into vision. Okay, if it is not striking upon retina, if it is striking on the pigmented layer, no use. So that is the function of lens. Lens will direct the light rays into the retina. Okay, and there is one more component. Within this eyeball, this large area of the eyeball is filled with a semi-liquid or gel-like matrix known as the vitreous humor. Okay, this portion is covered by vitreous humor, which is a gel-like substance. It is actually maintaining the structure of the lens. Okay, why the filling of vitreous humor within the eyeball? It is actually maintaining that round shape of the eyeball. Okay, and just in front of this lens, you can find another gel-like matrix known as the aqueous humor. This one is known as the aqueous humor. Okay, aqueous humor. Aqueous humor is the humor, that is, it is the liquid or semi-liquid like portion which you can see just in front of your lens. Okay, to maintain the pressure inside. Okay, to maintain the intraocular pressure balanced. Okay, so you can find vitreous humor in behind the lens and aqueous humor in front of the lens. Okay, so these are the basic parts of the eyeball. Okay, I hope you understood. Thank you.